The song started with a single line, just 6 words, but it held everything she had never been brave enough to say. I don't need the spotlight, just you. Min-seo had written it as a suggestion, a whisper on the margin of Seo-jun's lyrics sheet after he'd asked for help structuring the second verse. She never meant for him to notice it, but he did, and the next day he looked at her, not just glanced but looked, and said, "That line, it's perfect." Her cheeks turned red in an instant. She nearly dropped her pen. Thank you. You have a way with feelings," he said. And walked away, like it was just a compliment, like he hadn't just set her entire world on fire. What if the person you loved sang the words you helped write, but looked at the wrong face when he did? Stay with me. This one will hurt, until it heals. Choi Min-seo had never been called beautiful. She was 16, glasses always slipping down her nose, hair tied back in a rushed ponytail, uniform buttoned all the way up. She never looked people in the eyes when she spoke, especially not Baek Seo-jun. 17, lead singer of the music club, sharp jawline, eyes that smiled when he laughed, the kind of boy you heard before you saw because someone was always talking about him, and yet he noticed her because of one thing: music. It happened on a rainy Thursday. Min-seo had stayed late to return a biology book. She passed the music room on the second floor, stopped because the piano was playing, and someone was singing, quietly, raw, searching. She leaned in, piqued. Seo-jun sat alone, frowning at his notebook. His voice was beautiful but uncertain. He sighed and muttered, "Still sounds fake." Before she could sneak away, the floor creaked. He looked up. "Hey." Min-seo froze. Caught. "Sorry, I didn't mean to." "Wait. You're in class 1B, right?" She nodded, mortified. "You read a lot," he said. She nodded again. He smiled. "I need help with lyrics." That was the beginning. What started as one shy session turned into 2, then 5, then nearly every afternoon. He'd play a chord. She'd suggest a word. He'd sing. She'd blush. They weren't friends, not officially, but when they sat on that piano bench, knees almost touching, they became something in between. He told her, "I want to write something that means something." She told him, "I think feelings are the hardest part." He said, "I feel like you get that." She didn't answer, but she felt it, every word. She started to imagine what it would be like if the song they were building together wasn't just a song, if it was a confession, his voice, her words. The school festival was 2 weeks away. He would perform, she would sit in the crowd, and maybe, just maybe, he would sing to her. Maybe she wouldn't be invisible anymore. But they weren't alone in that music room forever, Lee Soo-bin noticed. She always noticed. Tall, confident, effortlessly stylish. The kind of girl who didn't have to try. The school's favorite influencer, and Seo-jun's not-so-secret admirer. She had posted edits of his performances, tagged him in everything, flirted openly. Claimed he just hadn't realized they were meant to be. So when she saw Min-seo leaving the music room one afternoon, hair messy, holding sheet music, Soo-bin tilted her head, then smiled. That kind of smile. The next day, Soo-bin showed up at the music club. "I want to help with the stage setup," she announced. Seo-jun looked confused but nodded. Min-seo stood in the corner, watching her circle the room, eyes scanning, mouth smirking. "I love that you're doing something personal this year," Soo-bin said too loudly. "Is it a love song?" Seo-jun gave a small laugh. "Kind of." She stepped closer. "Who's it for?" He didn't answer, but Min-seo saw something shift in his face, something soft, something private, and she felt her heart flutter. It had to be her. Didn't it? That night she stayed up late rewriting the chorus with him, her handwriting, his guitar. He hummed her words like they belonged to him. She smiled at the desk as she worked. Maybe, at the festival, maybe this would be it. She didn't tell anyone. Not her parents, not her classmates, not even herself really. But she picked out a nicer ribbon for her ponytail that morning, polished her glasses, put on lip balm. She didn't need to be beautiful, just seen. The auditorium was packed, lights, noise, energy everywhere. Seo-jun's band was the final act. People screamed when he stepped on stage. Min-seo sat in the fourth row clutching her bag, heart pounding. He held the mic, introduced the song. It's about someone I didn't notice at first, but she helped me find my voice. He smiled. She smiled. Then he turned to the right, toward the side aisle, where Soobin stood, waving, posing, and he sang, looking straight at her. Every word Min-seo helped write, every line she dreamed he'd sing to her, directed at the wrong person. Min-seo froze, couldn't breathe, couldn't blink. Someone behind her whispered, "Wow, he's finally confessing to Soobin." Another, "Did you hear she helped him backstage?" She stood, walked out, didn't wait for the second verse, didn't hear the applause. Outside, she sat on the steps alone. It started to rain, she let it. Before the song broke her heart, before the spotlight turned the wrong way, there were days Min-seo would replay forever in her mind, not because they were perfect, but because they made her feel real. It was the week before the festival, the E. Music room smelled like old sheet music and warm wood from the piano. Light poured through the tall windows. Min-seo sat on the bench, notebook open. Seo-jun strummed soft chords beside her. It felt like they were alone in the universe. "You hear it?" he asked, half whispering. She nodded, then softly, "It's better if you hold the A minor longer here." He played it again, slower, then turned to her with a grin. "You're like my secret weapon." Her face burned. He didn't notice. He was already scribbling notes with his tongue between his teeth. She watched him, every movement, every smile. He wasn't perfect, but he was passionate, and he trusted her. No one had ever asked her to make something with them before. They started meeting daily. At first it was just lyrics, then melodies, then full structure. He'd ask, "Would you add another verse?" She'd reply shyly, "Only if it's quiet." Some things hurt louder when they're soft. He paused once and said, "I think that's the best line in the whole song." She looked at him, startled. "Did you hear what you just said?" He blinked. "What? You said the whole song, like it's finished." He smiled. "It is, but not everyone was happy about that." Soobin had been watching, not just glancing, watching from behind doors, through windows, online. She wasn't just another pretty face. She was used to being the main one. She knew her angles, her followers, her role in the school's ecosystem, and nothing irritated her more than someone changing the script, especially when the girl had no role at all. She walked into the music room one afternoon, unannounced. Min-seo was seated at the piano, softly, humming the pre-chorus. Seo-jun leaned back, eyes closed, listening. When the door opened, he jumped. Soobin stood in the frame like she belonged there. "I brought snacks," she said, lifting a bakery bag. "I thought the genius needed fuel." Seo-jun smiled politely. Min-seo stood awkwardly. "Oh," Soobin said, eyes scanning Min-seo up and down. "I didn't know we had an assistant." Min-seo opened her mouth, then closed it. Seo-jun stepped in. "She's been helping with the lyrics." Soobin's eyebrow rose. "Oh, that's unexpected." Min-seo excused herself early that day. After that, things shifted. Soobin began showing up more often, claimed she was helping with lighting design, though she never touched a switch. She lingered after practice, laughed too loudly at Seo-jun's jokes, and always stood between him and Min-seo. "Your song's amazing," she said one evening. "Who's it about?" Seo-jun glanced at Min-seo, but Min-seo looked away. He hesitated. "No one specific." "Liar," Soobin said, playful. "You're writing like a man in love." Min-seo packed her notebook faster than usual that day. That night, Min-seo rewrote the bridge alone. She added a new line. "It's okay if you don't say my name. Just don't give my words to someone else." She debated showing it to him, then decided not to. Maybe it wasn't hers anymore. 2 days before the festival, they held their final rehearsal. Min-seo sat on the side, silent. Soobin was there again, holding the set list. Seo-jun performed the full song. When he sang, his voice trembled. It was raw, honest. He looked across the room, right at Min-seo, but Soobin stepped into his eye line, smiled, waved. He smiled back, distracted. Min-seo's chest tightened. Something felt wrong. After rehearsal, Soobin approached her near the lockers. "You've been working hard," she said sweetly. Min-seo nodded. Unsure, Soobin leaned closer. "But you know he's not going to sing it for you, right?" Silence. "He sings for the crowd, for the moment. Not for people like us." Min-seo blinked. "Like us?" Soobin laughed. "You thought I meant me?" She tilted her head. "I meant you." Min-seo didn't respond. She didn't cry either. But that night, she erased all her notes from the songbook. She told herself it didn't matter. It wasn't her song. The day before the festival, Seo-jun gave her a folded page, new lyrics, her words, but modified. She read the bridge. It still held the line she wrote weeks ago. "I don't need the spotlight, just you." But under it, he had added, "And if I don't look your way, it's only because I'm afraid you'll disappear." Her heart stuttered. Was it for her? Was he scared of her, or was she imagining everything again? She watched from the back as he practiced on stage, the lights on him, the quiet before the storm. He looked nervous. He always did before a performance. She smiled and for a second believed. The lights felt too bright. Even from the back of the auditorium, Min-seo squinted as the first performance opened with a burst of confetti and loud cheers. She sat 3 rows behind the last cluster of seats. Invisible, as always. She liked it that way. Usually. But tonight, she wished she mattered. Backstage, Seo-jun sat on a folding chair, guitar in his lap. He bounced his knee, sweaty hands, dry throat. It wasn't stage fright. It was something else, because his heart beat faster when he thought about her. Min-seo, the girl who always looked away but said exactly what he needed in a lyric. The girl who sat quietly, always listening, always feeling. He hadn't told her, not properly, but tonight she'd know, she had to know. Soobin leaned over his shoulder. "You nervous?" she asked. He nodded, absent. "Don't be," she smiled. "You're going to be amazing, and they're going to love you." She smoothed his collar. He didn't move, didn't react. His mind was elsewhere. Back in the audience, Min-seo clutched her knees. The seat beneath her felt like a wave she couldn't control. Her heart said one thing, her brain said another, but her body said run. She stayed. The performance before Seo-jun's finished with a loud beat drop, screams, lights, and then the host called his name. Baek Seo-jun, closing the night with an original song. The crowd roared. He stepped into the light. Guitar slung over his shoulder. One spotlight followed him. Min-seo held her breath. Her heart jumped into her throat. He sat on the stool, cleared his throat. "Hi," he said softly. "This is a song about someone who helped me find my voice." Min-seo's fingers curled around the seat's edge. He looked across the room. His eyes searched. She felt it. He found her. And then he smiled, right as Soobin waved from the front row. And he didn't look away. He started playing, still looking. Still, smiling. At her, Soobin, Min-seo's breath stopped. The first line dropped like a weight on her chest. "I don't need the spotlight. Just you." Her line, her voice, her words, but his eyes never moved. He was still looking at Soobin, singing every verse like a promise. Min-seo blinked once, twice. Maybe he was looking through her. Maybe he was nervous. But then she saw Soobin smile. Tilt her head, place her hand on her chest and mouth. "Thank you." Min-seo stood up. No one noticed. She moved down the side aisle like a shadow, before the chorus hit, before her favorite line. She was already outside. The hallway was colder than she expected. The sound of his voice still echoed behind her, muffled by the walls. He sounded beautiful. He sounded in love, but not with her. She sat on the floor near the emergency stairwell, back against the wall. She didn't cry at first, just stared at the tiles. How had she misunderstood? He had asked for her help, laughed with her, wrote with her. He held her. Lyrics like treasure, he quoted her. He smiled. Or was it always polite? Was she just a notebook, an echo, a pen in someone else's story? She pulled out her phone, opened the draft of the original lyrics, scrolled to the bridge. Her favorite line still glowed on the screen. "Even if you never say my name, I'll know it's me you're singing to." She erased it. Inside, the crowd gave a standing ovation. Soo-bin stood too, blew a kiss toward the stage. Seo-jun laughed nervously, finally looking around, finally realizing something was missing. But it was too late. Min-seo was gone. Later that night, she received a message. "Seo-jun, did you hear the performance? What did you think?" She stared at the screen, typed, "Beautiful," then deleted it, typed again, "You looked happy," deleted again. Finally, she typed one word, "Congrats," sent, no heart, no emoji. Just that. He read it immediately, did not reply. That night she pulled her notebooks from the shelf, ripped out the pages from their song. One by one, crumbled them, dropped them in the trash. She didn't cry. Not until she reached the last one. The one where she had drawn his name. Over and over in tiny print, barely visible, invisible, like her. The next day she skipped school, so did he. He watched the performance back on video, at first smiling, then frowning, then rewinding, again and again. He watched the moment where Soo-bin smiled, mouthed, "Thank you." Watched his own face as he looked at her, and then it hit him. The horror spread through his chest like wildfire. She thought he had meant, "Oh no." He dropped his phone, grabbed his jacket, ran. But Min-seo was not in her usual spot, not in the library, not at the music room, not at the second-floor window where she once sat, humming lyrics under her breath. Only the silence answered him, and inside it, the sound of a mistake he never meant to make. Min-seo didn't answer any messages, not from her classmates, not from the music club, not from Seo-jun. She muted everything, deleted the folder where she kept his voice recordings, archived the sketches she had drawn of his hands playing guitar, and put all her notebooks in a box labeled "Do Not Open." She went to school like nothing had happened, head down, no eye contact, not even with the teacher when her name was called. "Here," she whispered. That was all. People stared, some smiled, smug, some whispered, curious, but no one asked how she felt. No, one had to. She was already fading again. Seo-jun, on the other hand, felt like he was being pulled apart from the inside. He rewatched the performance again, and again, and again. Each time, the same pit in his stomach grew. Every smile, every glance, every lyric, all sent in the wrong direction. And then, the moment that destroyed him, Soo-bin stepping forward after the show, hand brushing his arm, eyes sparkling. "Thank you," she whispered. He blinked, still coming down from the adrenaline. "For what?" She smiled like it was obvious. "For singing to me." He didn't answer, didn't correct her, and that silence and that single second of hesitation was the match. And now everything was on fire. The next day he waited for Min-seo by the front gate. She walked right past him. "Min-seo," he said. She didn't even blink. "Can we talk?" She shook her head once, firm, kept walking. In the music room, her favorite corner was empty. No open notebook, no humming while he tuned his guitar. Only the silence. Only him, and 100 lyrics that no longer felt like songs. He left a note on her desk. One sentence. "Please let me explain." It was gone the next day. No reply. Soo-bin cornered him after lunch. "You okay?" she asked. He didn't look at her. "You told people I sang that for you." She smiled. "Didn't you?" "No." "You looked right at me." "I didn't mean." "Tag, does it matter?" He turned sharply. "To her, yeah, it does," she scoffed. "Seo-jun, be real. You're on stage, the crowd's watching, you're singing a love song. Of course people are going to think it's about someone like me." He stared. "Someone like you?" She crossed her arms. "I mean, not a shadow. He stepped back, like her words had slapped him. Subin's tone shifted. She's not like us. She doesn't know how this works. She wrote the song, he said. Subin blinked. What? She helped me write every word, every verse. That song was for her. Silence. Then Subin laughed. You're kidding. He wasn't. That night, Seo-jun found himself in the stairwell, the one they had sat in during breaks, the one where she once told him, music is like breathing. You don't notice it until it stops. He sat on the step, alone, guitar across his lap. Didn't play, just held it. The next morning, Min-seo arrived early to avoid the crowd. But when she walked into the hallway, there it was, posted on the bulletin. A full-color photo of Seo-jun on stage, smiling mid-verse, captioned in bold text. He sang for the queen of the school. Subin's followers were already commenting, tagging, reposting. Her heart dropped again, like someone had twisted the knife instead of pulling it out. She didn't go to class that day. She sat in the empty library. No books, just silence. Seo-jun found the post a few hours later. He read every comment, some mocking, some romanticizing, all wrong, and then he saw her name mentioned. Just once. Someone wrote, "Isn't that the nerdy girl who used to help him?" He threw his phone against the wall. It shattered, so did something in him. He went to the front of the school, to her classroom. She wasn't there. Asked her friends. No one knew. He walked to the rooftop. Her favorite spot, empty. Back to the music room. Only echoes. And then he went to the cafeteria. Lunch was in full swing, students laughing, chairs scraping, voices loud, but his were louder. He climbed onto a table, held his guitar. The room froze. Every head turned. Someone whispered, "What's he doing?" Seo-jun closed his eyes, took a breath. Then he began to sing. The same song, same lyrics, same chords, but different now, because this time he didn't look at Subin. He looked straight ahead, at the door, waiting, hoping, praying that she would walk in. The cafeteria fell silent. Seo-jun stood on the table, guitar in hand, eyes scanning the doorway. His voice cut through the noise like a blade through fog. Soft, steady, measured, not showy, not perfect, but real. I don't need the spotlight. Just you. The words landed differently now because this time he meant them. Every student stopped. Phones came out. Whispers turned to wide eyes. No one knew who he was singing to, but they could feel it. It wasn't performance. It was confession. Then, the doors opened and Min-seo walked in. She had heard the sound before she saw the source. She thought she was dreaming. But no, there he was, on the table, eyes locked on her. Her heart stopped. Her legs froze. For a moment, she thought about turning around, running, but he didn't look away. He kept singing, verse after verse, all of them. Their song, her words. He changed the bridge, the one she erased. He sang the version she never showed him. Even if I never say your name, you'll know it's you if I'm afraid. Her eyes filled. He smiled and then, because you never needed a spotlight, you were the light. The room was silent. No cheers, no claps, just stillness. Then he stepped down from the table, guitar still in hand, walked straight to her. One step, then another, until he stood in front of her, close enough to touch, but he didn't. Not yet. I saw the video, he said. Her throat tightened. I saw what it looked like. I saw what you thought, and I hated it. She looked down. You didn't do anything wrong, he said gently. I didn't do anything right either. Silence. She tried to speak, but tears came first. He reached out, slow, careful, and wiped one from her cheek with his thumb. She leaned into his hand, just slightly, but it was enough. You were the only real thing in that whole song, he said. The only reason it ever mattered. More tears. Now hers, now his too. I'm sorry I looked at the wrong person, she sniffled. You didn't just look at her. I know. But I never looked away from you, he added. And I never will. Again. The cafeteria held its breath. Then he dropped the guitar, wrapped both arms around her, pulled her close, and for the first time in front of everyone, Min-seo didn't hide. She didn't shrink. She let him hold her. She let herself be held, and when he leaned down to kiss her, she kissed him back soft, certain, like music. The room erupted, applause, screams, phones flashing, but Min-seo didn't hear any of it. All she heard was the echo of her own voice, inside him, finally. Later that evening, they sat on the rooftop, his jacket over her shoulders, her hand in his. No audience, no pressure, just stars and silence. She looked at him. "Do you still want the spotlight?" He shook his head. "I want the quiet. If it's with you." She smiled, then whispered, "I'll write you 1,000 verses." He leaned in. "I'll sing everyone." Back in her room, Min-seo opened a fresh notebook. On the first page, she wrote, "He sang it wrong the first time, but the second time he sang it to me."